Hello, everyone, and welcome to CEDIA Expo Virtual. We're here today to talk about the great outdoors. First, a special thank you to Samsung for sponsoring this Tech Talk. I'm your session moderator, Arlen Schweiger, executive editor of CE Pro and a veteran of attending CEDIA Expos in the past. So the connected home technology industry has grown exponentially in the outdoor living space. Exterior spaces present new opportunities to expand your business. Today, we're going to explore what you need to know about talking tech outdoors to achieve whole home connectivity. So first off, I'd like to welcome our panelists today. From our sponsor, Samsung, we have Daniel Yacey. Hey, Daniel.
Hey guys, I'm Dan Yacey. I'm head of product marketing for lifestyle TVs at Samsung.
All right, and we also have Greg Matthews of Luxury Illumination. How you doing, Greg?
Good. Greg Matthews here from Luxury Illumination. We're based out of West Palm Beach, Florida, and also Denver, Colorado. We specialize in outdoor lighting design and implementation and audio systems.
All right, thanks, Greg. And moving on, we have Jeff Gallia of Boca Tech and Automation. How you doing, Jeff?
Hey, Arlen. My name is Jeff Gallia. I'm the president of Boca Tech and Automation out of Boca Raton, Florida.
All right, and finally, we have Jan Eden of Atlantic Control Technologies. Hi, Jan.
Hi, Arlen. Yeah, I'm from Atlantic Control, the operations manager here, and we are in the Mid-Atlantic and the DC region.
All right, well, thanks for everyone for joining us on the panel. We have a quick housekeeping note before we get started. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see a chat function and a Q&A function. So for attendees, please make sure to put any and all questions into the Q&A function, and we'll do our best to answer those at the end of the session. So with that, let's get started. You know, for CE Pro, every year we do a spring outdoor technology research deep dive. And this year we published it, and integrators reported doing a median of 10 outdoor projects in 2019. Jan, let's start with you. This has been an especially trying year with the COVID situation, but what has the overall outdoor business, the demand and scheduling of outdoor projects been like with your company this year?
Sure, thanks, Arlen. First, I'd like to start just by thanking the entire team, CEDIA and Emerald Expositions and Flying Camel. Without those folks and their service industry, none of this stuff would be possible. So big kudos to those folks. This year has been strange, although I do witness, I would say that overall there's been a larger trend to try and incorporate the indoor experience outdoors. I think everybody can probably speak to that a little bit. In general, the products are so exciting now. There's so much new stuff with the outdoor TVs, which Daniel will talk more about here later. And Greg's got some great images to share coming up soon as well, of just some exciting and really cool innovative technologies that are available now that weren't before. So the products themselves, I think, are compelling. So we've seen, our sales cycle is probably, a year and a half long or whatever. So we're delivering projects now that don't necessarily have anything to do with COVID, but have these really elaborate outdoor entertaining spaces. Just because there's just a demand as these products have emerged. There's a larger demand, I think, for those outdoor entertainment spaces. It's in many ways, it's just a more preferable experience, like just being outdoors, kicking it, and, having fun with your friends and whatever. So there's that whole thing happening kind of on a larger scale. Obviously, we see COVID on a short term. Absolutely. I can't say that we're getting like a bunch of new customers calling us and saying, I want outdoor only. That's not really happened, but what we are seeing is our customer base calling and saying, yeah, we need an outdoor TV now. Or maybe they've put it off for a year or two, a couple of years, whatever. Yeah, we need better outdoor audio because we're spending so much time by the pool now or whatever. So that's definitely been a thing for COVID. Scheduling's been tough because obviously some people are hit or miss whether or not they want you in their homes. There was kind of a slowdown to begin with where people weren't sure what to expect and what the future was going to look like. But since then, things have really picked up as that bubble now is kind of moving through. So it's gangbusters right now. So
that's certainly great to hear.
I had an image also, if you wanted to show, if you would please. quickly before we move on. So this is an example of a project that we delivered this year. So that's just just sort of a modern sort of beach home. And if we go to the next image as well, and you can kind of see the fit and the finish of that. But so this home has a really nice elaborate rooftop deck with nice TV installation, as well as they can go bigger with a theater screen as well. So that's kind of a unique thing that the customer wanted. And then if you go to the next image, this is an outdoor space as well. On the left-hand side there, you can see they've got those really large sliding glass doors that they can open up their entire kitchen space. That's what's on the other side of that glass wall there, into this outdoor patio. This is all screened in here on the right. And they've got a big TV and they've got a grill there and all this other kind of stuff. So really elaborate entertainment spaces that we're seeing much more recently than the last couple of years. So that's a good example of it.
Yeah, judging from that first image, it looks like you have a rooftop theater kind of, taking the space of a drive-in theater or something like that.
Right.
Pretty impressive stuff. Greg, in terms of your business, and especially working in a couple different areas of the country, what can you tell us about what 2020 has been like?
I think it's chaotic, just like everybody else, and pretty much consensus on what Jan just said. Beginning of the year was a slowdown, but luckily, being an outdoor company, we were able to work more than a lot of interior, integrators. We have a lot of relationships around the company or around the country with different integrators that we work with, and because of our ability to stay outside, even the projects that were initially delayed during the chaos have all come back around. So it has absolutely gone insane lately. And people are realizing that their homes are now their havens. And we specialize in designing systems that are better than even the highest end resorts. So that reinvestment in your home property is really turned on now. So it's gone in the good direction, luckily, for all of us.
Sure. So in terms of technology, just moving on to our next question, we've been hearing a lot from integrators this year who have said, the pandemic has really put more of an emphasis on home networks for sure, entertainment, as Jan was speaking to with some of his photos, security and things like that. Greg, let's stick with you. What are customers most interested in for their outdoor spaces these days?
Well, let's bring up an image real quick for one of our projects here in Jupiter. So this is in Jupiter, Florida, and it's a beautiful waterfront property. And creating an outdoor lighting like this, an atmosphere, allows these clients to not only spend more time outside, but to really enjoy it. So this all integrates with the AV systems, controlled by the Wi-Fi, controlled by the Crestron, and really ties it all together. Let's go to the next slide. So here's a front facade of a home. And here it shows the different fixtures that we use during the sliding design and shows how it ties together. So when this person returns to home, they're greeted with this rather than a dark entryway. And it really allows them to have that space, that security, and to feel safe when they get home and have a beautiful residence when they're there.
And Greg, just to follow up, obviously your specialty is in lighting in particular. What can you share with us? That's becoming such a big category. What can you share with our audience about, recommending lighting investment with clients and how you broach that conversation, and basically just how a landscape lighting install process works best?
Well, I have a slide here too of one of our designs, and depending on the situation, we'll either start with an architectural landscape architect's plan showing what will be built, or we actually use drones. We fly them up, take images of properties, or in this case, I actually use a Google Earth image. And this allows us to do a full graphical representation of where we'll be placing lighting. So this, we then work with the client, the integrator, or the architects to work through the process, showing our portfolio imagery and how these light fixtures, what their effects will be, and how it will change our home. There's tons of new technologies coming out. We're a Coastal Source ambassador to that brand. It's a very integrator-based brand that allows for an easy, very stable installation, and allows not only lighting but audio systems to be installed quickly. We also have you want to get back to the screen, I'll show you some cool new products. This is a blue LED neon strip, and new technologies like this allow us to really let our imagination soar. So we can use this for under counter lighting. We can bin this. We can integrate this into railing. It'll allow us to really design and customize properties in a way to suit a client's needs. And if you go to the next picture, so this is a different image using 4000K LED neon. And we illuminated this blue glass by tying it into this contemporary home. So it's a very unique situation the landscape architect that presented us with. So we're using a solid white light to illuminate the blue glass to create this effect and lead you into the house, but still leaving a classic look with the rest of the home and tying it all together.
And do customers realize that there are so many options out there just for lighting?
That's our job. So we spend hours and weeks, and we test all of this stuff. We're not ones quickly to switch what we sell. And having a huge portfolio base, we're able to show the clients again what that product can actually do to their home. Obviously, you can do night mock-ups as well, but having a true design and standing behind the design is what really separates you from the rest. We also working with a lot of AV integrators, like I said, so they have that client relationship where we can work with them and set up the zoning properly and configure it so that it's useful for the client's living space.
Sure, you can tell them about what they don't know about yet.
That's our job.
All right, so from lighting, let's move over to home entertainment outdoors, which is definitely something big that we've already talked about. Dan, coming from Samsung, you guys recently got into outdoor TVs with a new product. That's something that I'm sure integrators have been, really hoping for, because we know integrators use an assortment of TVs outdoors, and some, are not always outdoor rated. But let's hear from you just about what Samsung has come up with this new product, and and what exactly led to that development.
No, thank you. So if we zoom out, at Samsung, we're really challenging ourselves to redefine the role of TV. We're trying to find new ways to generate and create new demand. We're trying to find and even create new markets, to really expand the use case of a traditional TV. So through that lens, one of the things that we always do is ground everything in the voice of the consumer. So, over the last several years, we've been monitoring, trends and understanding what's going on in the market. But the idea for entering the outdoor space really actually came from our partners in the, custom install channel. They saw the demand, they understood what the consumers were looking for, and they brought it to our attention. So, with that, we kind of did our diligence. We looked and established that there was a business case, and we brought it to market. It was a very fun, and trying journey. But one of the most exciting things about a lot of these new products that we're coming out with is that consumers today are looking a little bit more for more than just a product, right? They're looking for something that really, can transform their space, or can expand the functionality. So, for this outdoor TV, it's really done that. And for us, we were able to bring our QLED technology and everything that consumers have grown to love about our TVs in the home outside with the new Terrace product. So it's been a fun ride, and it really started in the custom install channel, and now that we've launched, we're starting to get feedback from both installers and consumers, and it's exceeded our very high expectations, some of the verbatims that we've had early on. So we hope to build off that success. We ask folks to continue to share feedback with Samsung, and we'll look to expand into new plays and spaces in the future.
Great. Well, congratulations on that product. We certainly look forward to seeing a bunch of installations where it's been deployed. So that'll be exciting for us on the media side. In terms of our research that I mentioned before from CE Pro, we also found that integrators reported basically just about 2/3 of their outdoor projects were extensions of indoor projects. So Dan, sticking with you for now, what's been your experience in terms of the sales process and talking to some integrators and customers, for these kind of best practices with selling outdoors where you might have to do it as an extension of an indoor project overall?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked that, because the beauty of this product that we found is that 85% of people who purchase outdoor TVs look for custom installation. So they're really looking for that expertise in creating and developing and transforming their outdoor space. So some of the things that have been really successful and that I would recommend for people to do is really understanding who the consumer is for these outdoor TVs, right? So we know that we do a lot of segmentation work at Samsung and get feedback and CMI research. And we know that the people and consumers who have an outdoor TV spend over 3 hours in each occasion watching their outdoor TV, and a third of them spend over 4 hours. So these are people who are watching movies with friends and family. These are people who are gathering folks or their family around a sporting event. But what was also super interesting is the frequency of use, right? So people who have outdoor TVs, on average, not only spend that amount of time in each occasion, but actually, go outside to watch their TV at least twice a week. And half of consumers actually spend, more than 3 times a week outside watching their TV. So I share that data and really trying to understand the consumer, because these are family entertainers, right? These are people who, are used to, bringing large groups together and entertaining them in their home, that are really looking to move and have that same experience outside. So, and given the relationship base of the CI and custom install channel, I encourage everyone to leverage those relationships. Know that 85% of outdoor TVs are installed, and then just who are those family entertainers that you can really tap into to, tell them the benefits of having such a product.
Sure, that's a great statistic for our guys, definitely. Jan, let's move to you with that same question in terms of, you guys are based in the Middle Atlantic, so you certainly have your share of seasons there that you find in terms of outdoor business and coming from the indoors. Does it depend on seasonality? Is it something that they use all the time? And how do you get them to go from what's going to be an indoor project to say, hey, let's look outdoors as well and see what you can use there?
Yeah, I think kind of Greg alluded a little bit to him researching the products, and I think that's kind of at the core of the answer for me, and working with the trade partners as well. Researching the products, like I said, they're really compelling right now. If you just look at some of the images that Jeff's can share here in a minute, and Greg have, like the designs and everything are really fantastic and compelling. And when you share that with the clients, they're automatically going to want it. Whether they have a budget to allocate toward that is another, obviously hurdle, but we all have to face that, right? We're lucky that most of our clients, they can allocate however much they want to, so that's great. A lot of them can have that flexibility financially, but understanding they don't really know the projects, the products, and the innovations that are really happening, like through companies like Samsung and Daniel. There's a revolution, I think, happening, occurring right now with that outdoor TV. I mean, it has really changed a lot of things. I mean, Greg can speak to that. In the outdoor lighting, obviously with Coastal Source and stuff, they've got a really unique product as well. So knowing those products, knowing what's available in the marketplace, and then going and educating our trade partners about what's available, because they don't know either. That's what they rely on us. So if we're not communicating that to them, they're not designing the space with that stuff in it. So it's really important to get in front of the trade partners and actually educate them and keep them abreast, because it's hard for us to keep abreast of it. Imagine somebody who's not even focused on our channel every day. Like, of course they're going to be behind the times a little bit.
Sure.
So we have excellent trade partners that we rely on year after year, and there is that high level of communication between the companies. We have our own in-house, design and engineering team where we create plans and lighting design and all that sort of stuff, and we're constantly sending stuff back and forth to communicate all the details of the projects. And we do lunch and learns and all this other stuff to really promote those projects and educate people to what's out there. Because as soon as they see it, as soon as the clients see it, they're like, of course they're going to want it. It's compelling.
Jan, when you start talking about things like distributed audio and video with clients, is that usually kind of spur that conversation where you can say, hey, let's extend this zone outside? Is it usually something like that, or does it just depend on the client where they might be looking at lighting, or they might be saying, hey, you know, we spend a lot of time away from home, so can you install surveillance cameras all over the place outside?
Yeah, the way that I would answer that is basically the earlier that we can get into a project, the more influence we can have over what the client is exposed to and educated on. And that again relies heavily on our trade partners. If our trade partners don't know we offer these services and these products, then they're not necessarily going to be having those conversations with the clients. And if they bring us in sort of later after the design phase, then it becomes our sales approach is really consultative. So we're not like trying to say, oh, here's your golf simulator, here's your this, we're not trying to really, at that point in time, that opportunity is a lot of times lost. You know what I mean? So it's like, get us in early, we can talk about all these things, and it's stuff that they're going to want. And if you can work with the architects to incorporate it and integrate it in a really elevated and luxurious way, then you're the architect's best friend. And the products, like I said, they sell themselves. See the outdoor TV, it's crystal clear, it's bright. See the outdoor audio, the bass is, compelling. See the outdoor lighting design. Yeah, that's how I want to entertain my guests, and all that stuff is compelling just in and of itself. So.
Sure. So Jan, let's dig a little bit more into those trade partners and how they have helped foster some success when it comes to outdoor technology sales. Because usually, you think of, the architects, the interior designers, in terms of, the builders and things like that. But when it comes to outdoors, are you working with landscape architects, builders, lighting designers, kitchen designers, since they're outdoor kitchens now as well? How have you really kind of embraced those things?
Great question. I would love, so in addition, we have, it doesn't happen as often as I would like. I think there is a little bit of disconnect. And so I'm actually really looking forward to what kind of Jeff and Greg said and hear what their relationship is like. Because I know that's something unique about their business model that hopefully they can speak a little bit to that, and I'm looking forward to hearing how to foster that more. To me, it's like speaking the language. We've got our design that helps tremendously with those relationships. So.
Right. Well, we are very fortunate to have Greg here on the panel because he can talk about it from the lighting designer perspective. So, Greg, let's ask you in terms of how can integrators and what kind of advice can you give integrators in terms of approaching you for a job, and how often do the jobs originate from something that you've heard from a client and get the referrals that way?
So we do a lot of relationship work, and we pride ourselves in that. We work with AV integrators around the country, and it's just really worked out well for everyone. When the AV guys are trimming out the Crestron system, or they're programming, or they're finalizing their system, and even electricians are all busy at the very end stages of a home when it's time to do the actual lighting install. It works out great for us to go in there, take care of it, make sure it's done properly, and come out correctly for the client. So we deal with landscape architects all the time. We understand tree species. We understand landscaping plans. We know how these plants are going to grow, what's going to be required to light them now and 5 years down the road, how to maintain these systems. So everybody in the end really makes out when you work with a specialist in their area. And we're not also trying to figure out the zoning and programming, but we understand the language so that we can work with these integrators, construction people, and everyone else so that the end product really is the best. The other main thing also is with the architects, the landscape architects, we can design new fixtures that not only look good during the day, but are going to have the proper light output. So we'll put these through the ringer. We'll test them throughout the night. We'll put them in the environment and see how they work before we'll actually specify them on a plan, and then know how they're going to look both during the day and the night. We've taken some projects, one on down here in Jupiter. The original landscape architect specified about 120 fixtures. And the AV integrator was able to get in there and brought us on with them, and we ended up installing about 780. And this client was ecstatic. If they had done the original install, it would have been very underwhelming. And that's just how a lot of professionals are. They're very afraid to actually design things properly. I'm speaking about landscape architects and people like that. I think when a lot of landscape architects go to college, I hear they get about 2 weeks of lighting training, and that's on a 4-year course. So, you know, we do a lot of ongoing education. We do this stuff all the time. So even over landscape architects, we're more knowledgeable and can actually do the designs for them and make them turn out better as well.
Great, something definitely to keep in mind. So let's, in terms of the projects, then let's move along to back to Jeff. You know, being down in Florida where you guys are, where people spend tons of time outdoors, can you tell us about any of the unique ways or applications that you guys have done to address outdoor needs of your customers?
Well, sure. First of all, a little shout out to Daniel on the Terrace TV. We've had the good fortune of installing one. Is that you can just hang it. If you've got Wi-Fi, it's got smart apps in it. You got Netflix. One of the problems that we have down here is, of course, we've got concrete block construction. We're in the tropics, and nothing lasts outside. So trying to put a cable box or an Apple TV, it really means you're doing some sort of video distribution or HD-based T-Balun or something like that to keep the equipment indoors. With the soundbar technology that is there, the cover that comes with it, now the mount that we heard about yesterday, you've got kind of a complete hang and bang solution, if you will, a quick win, couple hours in the afternoon, and now you got yourself a 75-inch super bright TV. So just kind of throw that out there for the quick win. As far as unique things, there's you can bring up that slide that we've got there. I'll talk to that. So much like you would approach a home theater system, you're looking at an environment, not just a TV or audio or landscape lighting. This picture here shows everything that we're doing in our outdoor division, which includes the pergola with motorized louvers, because it rains here every afternoon in the summer. That we're in the tropics, and then during the day when it's not raining, there's a lot of sun and it's very, very hot. So you need to shelter yourself from all of those kinds of things. But at night, maybe you want to open it up and see the beautiful sky. You want to see the TV. We've got ceiling fan integration, lighting integration, hardscapes. We're providing hardscapes. We've got the coastal source bollards there, one of my favorite outdoor solutions. And then you'll see artificial turf and so forth. So we're approaching it like an indoor theater, where if you want to do projection and surround sound and so forth, you find yourself getting in acoustic panels, chairs, seating, those kinds of things. So that's kind of would be my unique bring to this, is not look at it as just landscape lighting or just, oh, we're digging trenches, let's do lighting and audio at the same time. Well, maybe not so much, because they're looking for one-stop shopping where they're not trying to engage 20 different contractors and organize it and be a GC themselves. So you can bring up a couple of those other pictures there. There's a few more that showed that particular project that we finished during COVID. We did the landscape lighting there. We did that little short wall that all those plants are on. We did the artificial turf. We did the pergola, the entire environment. And then we hired a pool contractor to renovate the pool so it all tied in. And of course, we control everything, including the pool control and those shear descents there with the water features. We're controlling everything through, you know, keypads, iPads, you know, things like that. The normal indoor technologies are integrating everything. So it really is outdoor living that is just like the inside, but you get the great outdoors. There's one more slide there. You can see the artificial putting green was part of this project. And we even delved into, for the first time, interfacing with irrigation control. And like, why would you do that? Well, we're digging everything and we're running wires. It's not that hard, right? I mean, it really isn't. Connect a couple of conductors, and now you've got a valve that opens and shuts. It's no different than really anything else we've been doing for many, many years. So you kind of put all that together, and you've got something that you can now speak to that is a complete solution. And it really excites people when they look at that picture of everything and they think, that's another whole 5,000 square feet of my house that I can live in, especially when you're thinking about, you know, the staycation kind of concepts with the COVID thing that we're spending so much time at home. You don't mind going outside if it's comfortable and you're entertained.
Great. Well, that's I think a good segue into I think we have a couple minutes left here, so for some rapid fire answers from you and Jan to our last question. Jeff, we could start with you and then go to Jan in terms of our graders on the panel. Just any last advice that you can share with our attendees about maybe some quick hits in terms of how they can improve outdoor sales and boost their bottom line in this category?
Sure. You can bring up that infographic. In my opinion, it's about giving a client a vision of how everything works together. Motorized hurricane-rated bug screens, non-hurricane rated bug screens. Again, no different than doing indoor motorized window covering. Outdoor cinema, which could be anything from projection on top of one of these motorized screens, or it can be a television. Eco-friendly irrigation that I mentioned, the pergolas, video surveillance, Wi-Fi outside is now crucial. One thing I really like about, say, Coastal Source is you can do an entire audio system without stepping foot inside because they have outdoor rated amplifiers and NEMA enclosures hanging on the wall, run the wiring, you never go inside the house, zero touch. So if you look at this as a big, huge thing, you've differentiated yourself against the landscaper that only does one thing or two things. They can do the lighting and they can do the vegetation. They're not doing the rest of this. And it's the same thing with the electricians. Maybe they'll do the landscape lighting, but they're not digging into anything else. We're really the only industry that can see our way through all of these technologies and tie it together into a very simple, easy to use user interface, just like we've done inside.
Great. And Jan, how about from your company's perspective, just to finish us up here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jeff's hit the nail right on the head. Like having a really inclusive product offering is important. It makes everyone's life easier. And I think also too, just to highlight that, like I'd said before, that the products themselves, the manufacturers are really innovative, and they've got some really, really interesting things, not only to the integrators, but to the customers as well. I mean, they're exciting, like Coastal Source and Samsung are, easy, unique solutions for integrators, but also they're really exciting. I mean, what a joy to be able to have the coolest stuff in house, right? Install that stuff. So if the clients see it, they're gonna want it. It touches that human side of them. They're absolutely gonna want it. So just educating them, like Jeff said, show them the picture, show them the uses, and they're gonna want it because it's in a lot of ways it's just preferable experience. So.
Great. Well, this has all been a very great discussion, very helpful for attendees, I think, in terms of just what is a really hot area of the industry right now. So we appreciate all of your insights. Now we're going to move on to the Q&A portion of the session. All right, well, thanks again, everyone. And so before we get to that Q&A, just a quick shout out to Jan. That modern beach brilliance install that you did was just fantastic, and we awarded it with several CE Pro Home of the Year awards yesterday.
Yeah, thanks, Arlen. Thanks to the team and everything. It was a really great effort, and we're psyched to have won this year. So thank you.
All right, well, so moving on to the Q&A. Thanks for everyone who submitted some questions. We're going to start with Greg. Greg, the first question we got, the attendee wants to know, although the LED tech is so reliable, what are the latest design choices that you make to ensure the solution is maintainable with minimal disruption to the adjacent building materials?
So as many products go, even LEDs differ depending on the brand. So not only are we using it for control, but longevity differences. So we'll use different shrouding, different angles. If we use downlighting in trees, we'll use extended shrouds and make sure they're angled away from the adjacent properties. We deal a lot with sea turtles here and seasonal things that down in South Florida that other people don't have to deal with. Palm Beach Island has a very strict restriction where we can't even have a candle power going to the next home. So that's all done through the actual design, using the fixtures, maybe lower wattage, and actually using more fixtures at lower wattage. So we're not trying to illuminate more than a single feature with a fixture. So I kind of tell clients it's like using speakers. If you don't want it to be real loud, we put more speakers in the yard. If you don't want it to be real bright, we use more fixtures at a lower wattage. And that allows us more control to properly illuminate things, but without having light pollution going to the neighboring properties.
All right, makes a lot of sense. There's definitely a lot more there than meets the eye when it comes to installing that kind of stuff. So the next question we have really hits upon one of the technologies that we just kind of mentioned, but didn't really go into a whole lot. And this could be for Jeff or Jan in terms of delivering outdoor Wi-Fi, so home networking on projects. What is working for you guys, and maybe more importantly, what's not working for you guys?
Go ahead, Jeff. I'm happy to field it, or you. Go ahead. Or maybe not. Is there audio issues or no?
Yeah, Jeff, you're sounding a little weird.
Yeah, Jan, why don't you go ahead and field that one?
Okay, yeah, no worries. Yeah, oftentimes the indoor access points can actually give some coverage into the exterior spaces. So, you know, it's really individual case by case basis on whether or not that customer is going to need extra support out there. But we are using some, you know, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but we do use like some of the outdoor Ubiquity access points. And they work great. You know, they've got really, you know, awesome distance on them. You know, that, like I said, it's not every time that the space really requires it. But yeah, we use that and it works great, and everything wires to the controller perfectly, and you know, it's pretty painless.
Are certain environments more challenging than others for that? I know you guys do obviously a lot of beach areas, different things like that.
Oh, yeah, certainly, yes. Yeah, obviously there is the you know, the actual performance of, you know, the housings and all that kind of stuff. Can it stand up to the weather and all that kind of stuff? But you know, it just kind of depends on the use case and you know, so.
And can I add a little bit to that? I think another thing with the beach homes too is our CBS construction and the hurricane windows. So that really cuts the Wi-Fi signal down pretty dramatic down here in a lot of coastal regions. And then whenever we're dealing with Wi-Fi, we like them going back to a controller or being on a mesh network so that they're all one seamless Wi-Fi and they're not having to switch to an outdoor WAP when they're outside.
Yeah. And, you know, depending on how the hardscape is and all that kind of stuff too, obviously, like the materials and everything, like Greg just mentioned, so.
All right, and Jeff, did you get your audio squared away there? We were talking about outdoor networking.
No.
No? All right, well, sorry about that. We'll move along to the next question. You know, let's put this one out to Dan. One of our attendees wants to know, in terms of Samsung and, you know, the great reception to the Terra so far, any plans you can let us in on in terms of expanding your outdoor lineup?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So look, as we kind of discussed before, everything we do is really grounded in the consumer and what they're looking for. So as we've been to market and have been listening to both customers and integrators as well as consumers, we do feel like there's an opportunity to look into expanding the portfolio both horizontally, you know, potentially into new screen sizes. We know some consumers love those really large screens that really make a statement and take over the yard. And we're also learning that others like smaller screens to sort of fit in more unique places. So we are evaluating and seeing if there's an opportunity for both those opportunities, as well as, you know, other types of technologies, right? And when I say technology, I mean full sun capabilities for some of our TVs. So all of the above is sort of being evaluated, because we want to continue to provide solutions for consumers in all areas of their yard, and in ways they want to integrate TVs into their new outdoor spaces.
Sure. And if I recall right, talking with some folks from your company as well, I believe the wall product that can be outside as well, right? The micro LED, I think, is used in some resimercial applications.
Yeah, you know, the specifications are still being worked on, but there are resimercial opportunities for sure, and we're excited about that broadly at Samsung. It's a really unique technology. On top of the screen size, it's the first time we're bringing to market micro LED. So excited to see that. I've seen it in, you know, the opportunity to see it in person, and it really brings the TV technology to the next level. So we're excited to see that in market very soon.
Sure, maybe some more rooftop applications for Jan and his team over there. Jan, going back to you in terms of demonstrating outdoor technology, one of our attendees wants to know just how important it is. And I'll ask you this kind of follow-up to it. Do you guys have an outdoor aspect to your showroom?
We currently do not. Oftentimes we rely on our, you know, our manufacturer reps to provide demos and stuff like that, which works honestly just fine. They've got the full complement of the products and lines available, you know, and oftentimes you can just kind of utilize what they've got. And absolutely, to speak to your first part of the question, it's really important. You know, like I said, oftentimes you know, it's like there's a human element to wanting to, you know, when you're comparing product A and product B, even if you can't necessarily afford product B, but it's better, you're still going to want it. And, you know, just creating that disparity for the customer between the different product lines can oftentimes be enough to sell them on it. They'll sell themselves on it, you know. So it's definitely important in many ways. I mean, a lot of our customers understand high performance products and they kind of get it, and they but maybe for the people that are kind of new, you know, haven't done a project before, maybe this is their first, you know, technology project in their home. Being exposed to the products can definitely be a big thing for them. So.
Sure. I know a lot of times integrators, at least pre-COVID, I'm not sure if this has been going on as much in 2020, but they'll take prospective clients to existing customers' homes to show them how some of the technology actually works. Is that part of the outdoor demos? Have you guys done that?
We've done that in the past. Yeah, obviously you got to have good relationships with your clients, which we do. We support them, you know, obviously in perpetuity with great service work. But yeah, we can rely on a handful of clients that are comfortable enough with that, and absolutely they get to see the fit and finish. They get to see the performance and see what it's like in the real world. 3D renderings, you know, from the architect are great, and every little bit, even VR, you know, whatever, they can kind of get a walkthrough of what their home's going to look like. All that stuff helps to paint the picture, and obviously going into an existing home, even oftentimes like this house was built by your architect that you've hired, you know, so this is actually probably more or less what your house is going to look like. So, you know, so that helps too. So
great. So I think we have time for one more question, and I'll put this out to, I guess, either Jan or Greg. In terms of, you know, if you're willing to talk about typical retail costs, I know obviously these projects can range wildly depending on what's installed there. But can you speak to any sort of average costs that outdoor clients will be looking at?
That is a very wide question. So a lot of our projects are different than most. And our usual lighting projects are usually between 30 to 120 grand. And we have competitors. I'll bring up a quick example. We actually just beat another local landscape lighting company in the area. That's horrible. But they proposed to this client a $10,000 design. So we came in at $42,000 with our design, and we won the entire project. And that was all based on us walking them through the different quality of the products, the final outcome, and they didn't take a single thing off. So we've done projects that are close to $1 million in just outdoor lighting and audio. We did one backyard in Texas that was close to $300,000 in outdoor audio alone. And that's just for the back patio. So it can get up there. And I would say a normal house, to do it properly with quality products that will actually last, 30 to 50 grand, you know, would be a good number. I generally don't ask budgets when we're meeting with clients. We'll usually come up with something, do an actual design that's based on reality. And then if we need to cut back, we cut back, and we work with them on what we cut back with. But I don't think I've ever asked somebody, how much do you want to spend on landscape lighting? Because who the heck knows the answer to that? So again, we're different animals, but I think people are willing to spend more, just like on anything else, when you show the true value of something. And if it's something that will not go bad in 3 years, like their past experiences, and is going to last them possibly for decades, and you're able to also add on maintenance plans and maintain it and add on to it throughout the year, people will do more than you think. And I've never had anybody complain about me putting too many lights on their property at the end of the project. So it's sometimes a battle in the beginning, but you have to fight for your design sometimes for their sake.
All right, well, that sounds like a great note to end on. So with that being said, thank you, Greg. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Jeff and Daniel, our sponsor, Samsung. We really appreciate it. And thanks to the participants who sat in with us today. We really appreciate it and enjoy the rest of the expo.
Thank you.
You too, Arlen. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.